Hi there and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nicole with morningchores.com. Today's video is an exciting one. We're at the beginning of 2024, so I thought it would be fun to talk about how to set homesteading goals for the 2024 year. Now, I'm not really into the whole New Year resolution thing, but I do like to set some goals for the upcoming year. You know, even my husband and I will sit down and make goals for projects that we want to get done, even some financial goals or budget goals. But as a homesteader, I really enjoy looking back on the previous year and just kind of evaluating what was really successful, what failed, and how can I do better in this upcoming year. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my 3-step process that's really easy, really efficient, only takes about 10 minutes of your time. Plus, I'm going to share my free printable, which is in the description box below. There's a link you can click to print that out. But I'm going to talk you through my printable and how it works and how it will just get your thoughts and your ideas kind of organized and down on one piece of paper that you can put up anywhere in the house so that you can see it frequently and accomplish those goals for this year. I always think it's helpful to reflect back on the previous year, and that is step number 1, is to reflect. Let's evaluate what happened in the previous year, our successes and our failures. So what I like to do is make a list of everything that went well, all of my wins. Always start on a positive note. I think it's really helpful to see, look, I accomplished something and I put my hands to it, it went really well, and I had a success, I had a win. And then once you've made a list of those, then go to the failures. What went wrong? What could I do better? And starting here, it just gives you kind of a good foundation of where you can improve and go in the next upcoming year. Step 2 is to assess. So now that I have my list of successes and I have my list of failures, now it's time to look at those and say, okay, from this list, what are my 3 top goals for the upcoming year? So goals might be something like, I want to have a more organized garden, or I want to add more animals to my property, or I want to grow cucumbers better, or I want to learn how to can. These are goals, and they're achievable goals. You always want to make sure that your goals are achievable. You don't want to set the bar super high. I mean, I think it's good to challenge yourself, so it's a give and take, but you don't want to set it so high that it's just impossible and overwhelming to achieve. And again, I like to just pick 3. I like to stick with 3s because I think it's more manageable and it's more doable. The other thing I do in my assess step is I also add, what new skill would I like to learn? And this is something, again, I usually will set a goal for 2 skills. One that is easily doable and one that's a little bit dreaming in the clouds. Like build that big barn, or I really would like to get goats, so that's one of my goals. But I also set a smaller goal so that if I don't reach that, big dream, it's okay. The last step in my 3-step process is action, and this is probably the most important step, although you can't accomplish this unless you do the 2 previous steps that I just explained. But action means getting it done. So what do I gotta do to make this happen? So it's really important to write tangible things you actually need to do, buy, purchase. Maybe you need to take a class to acquire more information. Maybe you need to buy a specific product. What is the tangible things you need to do to achieve that goal? So now that I've gone over the 3 steps that I do to set my goals for the year, let's go over the free printable that we have in the description box below. I'm going to walk you through what I wrote down and how to use this so that when you print it out, it won't take you that long to fill out. So here's a close-up of our free printable, and it's called the Homestead Plan of Action. And there's a blank spot here so you can write the year, which is nice because you could print one of these out at the beginning of each year, fill it out, and it might be kind of nice in 5 to 10 years to look back on where you started and where you're at in that time period. But then below that we have our 3 steps. We have reflect, assess, and action, and below those is a description of what to do in each category. And then I went ahead and filled mine out, which I'll explain what I filled here in a minute. And then at the bottom, we have motivation statement, or where do you see yourself at the end of the year? So just to help you fill out yours, again, at the top, it says Homestead Plan of Action 2024. And then the first column for reflect I have a column for successes and a column for failures, and they're bulleted 1, 2, 3. And the reason I only have 3, because I'm sure you could list a lot more successes and a lot more failures, is I want you to pick your top 3. Top 3 successes and top 3 failures. And then when you do write in here, there's not a lot of space to write a full sentence. So just write a key word or a key phrase. You don't need to write the whole sentence to trigger that thought. So for example, under my successes, I wrote potatoes. And I don't need to write any more than that because that reminds me, yeah, my potatoes, they did really well this year. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing that I did last year in this next year when I grow potatoes. My second success was preserving or storing the appropriate amount of food. So one thing I did last year is I only preserved food as far as canning and freezing and things like that goes. I only preserved what we needed and what we actually eat. And then my third success was cherish each season, which I know that may not have anything to do with gardening or homesteading, but I actually think it does. One thing I really focused on in this previous year is slowing down. We did not commit to as many activities. And if we did commit to an activity, we tried to choose things that were more family oriented, like it included the whole family, not just one individual in the family. And we really slowed down our days, spent a lot of days at home, going for walks, and just really cherishing what each season has to offer instead of just rush, busy all the time. Failure number 1 is weeds out of control in the garden. That is something I've got to do better this year. Second failure was my vine crops and my green beans. So things like green beans, cucumbers, pumpkins, squash, all those did not do well this year. And I don't know why, because I didn't do anything different from my previous years. So I don't know if it's just a bad year or if I need to do something different. My third failure was elderberry pruning. There's some new information I learned over the course of the previous year that is making me questioning my pruning practices, and so I need to do better with that in this upcoming year. Step 2 is assess. And what we want to do here is choose 3 goals based on evaluation from step 1 and pick a new skill to learn. So goal number 1 for me is to improve the health of my garden. My goal number 2 is to improve my growing practices with my green beans and my vine crops. I mean, I'm always trying to improve on growing everything that I grow in the garden. This one, I really want to focus on the vine plants and the green beans because they did terrible last year. My third goal is to improve my pruning practices with my elderberries. And then the new skill I'd like to learn is I would really like my garden to be more orderly, better organized, and kind of things in their place. I would like to do that a little bit better this year. And then my big new skill that I would love to learn is having goats. I would really like to add goats to the property. I've been wanting to do this for a couple years now. We'll see if it happens, but if it doesn't, it's okay. You know, don't beat yourself up if you don't get to the new skill. That's why I say, you know, pick a new skill that is something you can easily accomplish, and then pick a bigger one that you may get to, but if you don't, it's okay. And then the third step is action. What do you need to do to achieve your goals? Take a class, buy supplies. So this is action. What do I gotta buy, purchase? What class do I need to take to make these goals happen and get them accomplished? So number 1 was improve my garden health. So first thing I need to do is cover my garden with plastic, which I already did. So I checked that off. I may need to till the garden. So even though I covered it with plastic to kill off all the weeds, I may still need to till. So I have that kind of open-ended because we're gonna evaluate it in the springtime. And then thirdly, I need to cover it with mulch. So I need to order the mulch and then I need to lay it out on the garden. And again, that's something I can't do until spring. Number 2 was improve my growing practices with the vine plants and the green beans. So do I need to take a class, do some research, you know, maybe add compost to the soil to boost the health even more? Those are things that I can do to achieve that goal. And then number 3 was improve my pruning practices with the elderberries. I need to order more elderberry plants because I had some not come back. And then I need to call the farm where I order my plants from and ask them some questions about pruning because I'm a little confused on it and I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it helpful and encouraging. Definitely check out the free printable in the description box below, and you can also head over to morningchores.com. There's so much more information over there. Maybe you can kind of look around on the website and maybe you'll find some inspiration on what you can set for your goals or maybe your new skills on your spreadsheet here. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the next video.